All right, what is up? We're not going to get started just yet because I'm going to wait for some people to show up.
It is Aaron Rodgers. That's a surprise. It's actually Aaron Rodgers. We have Aaron Rodgers as a guest today. He takes up the whole screen.
Hey, this is the only time I like Aaron Rodgers. I love it when he's sad and after the Packers lose. Oh, a picture like this is so glorious.
I was particularly happy for my uncle, who's a 49er fan, and he came out with me and wore to the Patriots game, and he wore Bills gear and cheered on the Bills, and so I've been rooting for his 49ers and happy that he gets to see an NFC Championship game, and nice run for him. Yeah, I'm hoping that if the 49ers were to win the Super Bowl, that wouldn't hurt my feelings.
No, same here.
I don't think they're going to win it though.
Well, we've got 6 people in here, and so hey, Dwayne, Roll Tide Roll, what's up, man? And TikTok Chess All, welcome aboard, bud. I think this is the first time I've had you in the comment section. Or actually, I take that back. I think you were here once before. But now that we have an audience, let me see what's going on here, because I got this going on both YouTube and my Facebook page. I want to see. Let's see what's going on here.
One quick question: are we going to have Aaron Rodgers on the page for the entire stream, or
no?
Is he just here for the? Are we just here to revel in his misery here at the beginning? Aaron Rodgers on the page for the entire stream, or
no?
Is he just here for the? Are we just here to revel in his misery here at the beginning?
Oh, hang on. All right, sorry, dude. I had it playing on my Facebook, so I was hearing double audio.
Yeah, no, I heard that. I almost thought it was coming from my computer for a minute.
Nope, it was coming from me. I just see. Here's the thing. I've never done this.
I heard that. I almost thought it was coming from my computer for a minute.
Nope. Okay, well, I guess it looks like I won't be able to take comments from off of Facebook. Unless they all come from.
You could. Is there a way you can mute that one page there? Or?
Now that we have an audience, let me see what's going on.
I would try to mute that. That's what I would try to do. Is there a way you can mute that one?
Yeah, let's see what I can do here. Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm going to interact with everybody here. Dwayne, Roll Tide Roll, how's it going? TikTok Chess Paul, how's it going? Do either of you guys have any NFL teams currently still in the race?
Okay. All right, now we can take Aaron Rodgers off the front here. I just love showing that as much as possible. All right, here we are. We are down to, looks like 3 people viewing now.
Yeah, they weren't a big fan of our opening debacle there.
Well, I should have had that figured out before we started the stream. But yeah, I'm going back and forth between here on StreamYard or YouTube and on Facebook, because I'm not sure who all is going to participate on Facebook, but I don't know. We'll just focus with the audience that we do have. So before we get started with any football discussion, if you guys haven't done it already, make sure you head over to the Two Irish Brothers show that I co-host with my buddy Ben. Hit that like and subscribe button over there. Dwayne, I know he has already. Chess Hall, I don't know if you have or not. If you're interested. Hey, Crimson, what's up, man?
You got a lot of Alabama fans that come by here.
Well,
Wayne and Crimson 1077.
Well, you know something, Eric? It goes back to the old trash talking circle days. There were a lot of those guys were mostly fans of SEC teams, and I was at that time pretty much the only Notre Dame fan there, and still kind of am to some degree. So you make friends.
The PTC not nearly what it used to be, is it?
It's virtually non-existent, but the people from that are still around. Like, Big Vol Daddy's still there. Law Tide, Haas, Magnum. He makes an occasional video. I mean, he came back for after when Georgia won the national championship. ACP Carter's still around. There's guys that are still floating around, but of course you have some guys that have dropped off. But
one of my favorite guys who still. He posts a lot of his videos to YouTube, but Stephen Rose is one of my favorites personally. He's a Texans fan and also a Texas Longhorns fan, and you just check him out. He's freaking hilarious. Some of the drunken rants he goes on and about the Texas Longhorns and the time that the Texans blew the 24-0 lead to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone in the comments here knows who Stephen Rose is, but
I don't remember him.
He's one of my favorites personally. I haven't watched him in a while, but he's one of my favorites, and I know he was a part of that TTC trash talk circle there.
Yeah. No, those were those days seem like they were just yesterday, and I agree, Crimson. Those were the days, when really a lot of us were just getting started here on YouTube and trying to. Well, I can't speak for everybody, but I was still trying to figure out how things worked and, what my quote unquote identity was going to be and what all I was going to talk about. But I've learned over the years that sometimes the best way is to just wing it. Just wing it. Well, Dwayne Roll Tide Roll, he threw out the first question. Who do we think will make the Super Bowl? So I guess we can go ahead and make our predictions now. Myself, I think I would like to see the Bengals represent the AFC, but I don't know if they're going to be able to knock off Kansas City. So I at this point, I think it's going to be Kansas City and the LA Rams.
Well, I think it's it's very difficult to beat a team 3 times in 1 year, but I feel like you just can't count out the San Francisco 49ers here. They're just some type of bad matchup for the Rams for some reason. Were the Rams up 17-0 on the 49ers in that final game of the year, or was it the other way around?
Well, see, I didn't watch that game, so I couldn't tell you.
I'm trying to remember, but I just know that the 49ers have absolutely dominated the Rams, and I don't know what the matchup is, but I feel like you can't count this one out. Seems to be a type of scenario that's being made a path for the 49ers. I'm going to pick the Rams because I think Matthew Stafford is playing some outstanding ball. I don't think he'll lose 3 times to the 49ers. And they made several mistakes in that Tampa Bay game and still won. But there's no guarantee you can make mistakes like that every week and not get beat. As for the Chiefs, that was an absolute game for the ages that you just empty the tank into. I mean, that was practically the Super Bowl right there.
You couldn't have asked for a better game.
I could have asked for a better game, yeah.
Obviously, yes.
I'm disagreeing with you, Sean. I could have asked for a much better game than what I got.
Well,
I thought that was bullshit.
You wanted a different result.
No, we needed a better game. A better game would have been the Bills winning because no one wanted to see the Chiefs except for Chiefs fans. That's it. America wanted a better result.
That's what I just said. You wanted a different result.
Well, I didn't think it was a very good game.
Well, it's I gotta say this though with the Bills, and I know it's still probably killing you right now because it hasn't been a full 24 hours just yet. Well, maybe you're on the East Coast, so I guess technically it has. But I'll tell you one thing: the Bills getting knocked out of the playoffs right now, which I know sucks for you, and hey, it sucks for me because I wanted to see the Bills go all the way. With what they went through in the early '90s, losing 4 straight, I really want to see them win one. I really do. But this is where things get interesting from my perspective as a Bears fan, because now with the Bills out of the playoffs, unfortunately, that opens the doors for the Bears to possibly hire Brian Dabble as their head coach.
See, I was looking because I have the Bleacher Report app. It looks like they're going to hire that Matt Eberflus from the Colts. He's kind of the front runner right now. I'm not seeing Brian Daboll as a front runner for the Bears. He's been more talked about with the Giants. And yeah, I think that's going to make a lot of sense because they just hired Brandon Beane's right-hand man there, Joe Schoen, who has been a huge part of our scouting department and, and the great drafting that this team has done in the time that Brandon Beane has done here, or has been here, not done here, has been here. So, I think that the Giants are going to land him and make a lot of sense. Well,
I'm just saying there's other candidates that are out there for the Bears and they've interviewed some good ones. And also with Eberflus, I don't really know too much about the guy. And I know he's gotten a second interview already, but second interview doesn't mean that you're necessarily a finalist. It just means that, you're on that stage, you're staying alive. But with the Bears, they've interviewed some guys that I just think would be a much better fit. They've interviewed Byron Leftwich. They've interviewed, who else is on their list? I mean, yes, I covered Brian Dabble already. This is the one thing I do not want. Do not hire Leslie Frazier as your head coach. That guy last night literally coached himself out of a head coaching job in 13 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, but he did. I don't know what he was thinking, but we'll get to that in a second. But let's see. I think the Bears have also they've interviewed Brian Flores, Jim Caldwell. Who else?
Caldwell is a really underrated one.
Yeah, Todd Bowles, Brian Flores, Jim Caldwell. So there's a lot of big names on that list for their head coaching position. But I don't know. My personal opinion, I think they should really hire a GM before they decide on a head coach.
Well, yeah, I think you need to have the GM in place, and then you have to look for the coach that's going to, get along best with that GM. I feel,
exactly my point.
Relationship there,
Yeah, exactly my point. You got to have the GM in place so that he can have at least some say on who the head coach is going to be. And like you just said, so they can form that chemistry, so they can have that.
You don't want to have philosophical differences there,
No. And honestly, what I think the Bears should have done is, I don't know what McCaskey's thinking, but they'd be better off just hiring a president of football operations who then hires a GM and the coach in that order. I mean, because it's just like when I look at least in the NFC North anyway, when I look at our rivalry with Green Bay and the fact that they've had only 2 quarterbacks in the last 35 years, however long it's been, and we've had what seems like a million. I mean, come on, you got to change something. You got to get something in place there. You got to get football minds in Hallis Hall, and the Bears are not doing that.
Well, the next guy you got to be afraid of is Jordan Love. He's the future. They traded up to get him.
Well, we'll see.
They traded up to get him. He must be. Yeah, that was sarcasm. If you couldn't tell.
I know. I picked
Jordan. I can't believe that they made that. That's the worst I mean, that's just the worst play they could have made there.
Well, I think they made that pick and they traded up to get him because they weren't sure of Rodgers' situation and if he was gonna hold out, if he was gonna retire, demand a trade. So they wanted to have a plan B in place.
I think that was before all that happened. That was after the game where they got beat by the 49ers in the NFC Championship game. And then they drafted Love, and then Rodgers went out and balled out, and then he held out.
That's possible, but regardless of what happened, they wanted to have a plan B in place, and they wanted to make sure they had a guy that they were already, starting to build on.
I mean, that's fair.
If they
did with Rodgers, but I don't know. I don't think Jordan Love is going to be. I don't think you're going to get 3 quarterbacks like that all in a row where you hit home runs on. It's just not going to happen. They're trying to bring back Aaron Rodgers, but I don't know. I personally hope they don't. I hope he goes somewhere else.
Yeah, get him the hell out of Green Bay. I'm tired of him, and I'm not just talking about because he's a good player. I don't like the guy for other comments that he's made.
Just retire. Speaking of people who might retire, do you think Brady might actually retire this time?
I don't know. I was thinking about that. I mean, but I'm sure it was your typical storyline, like, oh, Brady loses, and is this going to be enough to force him into retirement and so on? But I could see him wanting to play as long as he can and go out a winner. I don't think he's going to want to end his career on that.
I mean, either way, he's going to end his career as the best football player to ever take the field. Like, I really don't know that there's a bad way Tom Brady can go out.
No, but but it just
he's remembered, like, Tom, like, I don't even know how, like, Tom could really say when he went out bad in that game. Tom went out great. He led his team all the way back from 27-13 and tied the game. And then his defensive coordinator, it's like Todd Bowles and Leslie Frazier each had a pact on the same day. All right, we're gonna play 0 fucking defense, and at the end of our games, okay, we're gonna play 0 fucking defense, and it's gonna be hilarious. Let's just watch this. And then they proceeded to do that. They played 0 fucking defense and gave up easy layups to the opponent that just left you scratching your head. Like, how do you – did they run some sort of all-out blitz? So they pulled the that – you remember the game with the Jets and the Raiders last year where the Jets did an all-out blitz and then the Derek Carr found the drunk driver, Henry Ruggs, for a touchdown?
Yes.
On the all-out blitz. I'll tell you what, that Ruggs, he's a speedster, I'll tell you. Topping out at 156 miles per hour, according to Pro Football Focus.
Man, you don't hold back, do you?
No, I don't give a shit today. I don't give a fuck today, man. Not at all.
Great player, but horrible driver.
Like, yeah, he was fast. He was really starting to come into his own, but making bad decisions there. How you doing, Cowboys Longhorns?
Yeah, what's up, dude? Great to have you on the comment section with us.
I feel for you with the Cowboys, man. That's a tough situation there. Cowboys, unfortunately, as long as Jerry Jones owns the team, he can't get his ego out of the way. He can't stop meddling. He needs to have a coach that is a yes man. He's not. You're not until you bring in a real coaching staff and Jerry gets his ass out of the football operations. Unfortunately, it's probably going to be the same kind of stuff. It's just and underachieving. I really feel for you and I feel for the Cowboys. My dad's a Cowboy fan. I'd like to see him do well, at least for him. But
Well, you got to say this about Jerry Jones. You got to give him credit for this. He's not afraid to spend money, and he's not afraid to take chances.
That's right. He's going to spend as much money on 3 or 4 players, and he'll spend no money on a good head coach. Pretty much.
Well, he had a good thing going for a while there with who was the coach before McCarthy?
It was Jason Garrett.
Jason Garrett. I almost said Sean Payton, but wait a sec. Hold on. No, not Sean Payton. Jason Garrett. And they had some good seasons with Jason Garrett.
They did a lot of clapping.
Just couldn't put it all together.
Jerry Jones, or not Jerry Jones. If Jason Garrett, if clapping won Super Bowls, then they would have surpassed the New England Patriots in terms of being a dynasty. If clapping won Super Bowls.
Unfortunately, it doesn't. Cowboys Longhorn says Jerry builds us up to win just enough to keep us engaged, but not enough for postseason success. That's a good way to put it.
Business model.
And it's just like, I just don't see why you wouldn't go further than that. I mean, he brings in the guys, he brings in the coaches, he's like I said earlier, he's not afraid to spend money, but it's got to start producing on the field. You got to start seeing those wins and championships, and it just doesn't happen.
I'm going to interrupt with a hot take. I'm picking the Bengals to beat the Chiefs, and I'm not doing that out of saltiness. I want to see what the status of Tyrann Mathieu is, because with Tyrann Mathieu and Chris Jones, they absolutely still torched the Chiefs in that matchup. And they were losing in that matchup 14-0, 28-14 at one point. They were losing in that matchup and came back. Tell you what, you want to talk about Mahomes and Josh Allen? Well, I think we'd be remiss to forget about Joe Burrow. This guy is an absolute gamer. No, I don't think it's a long shot at all, Cowboys Longhorns. I don't think it's at all a long shot, especially if Tyrann Mathieu is not going to be available. If the Honey Badger is not going to be available, it could be I think Cincinnati matches up well with Kansas City. They don't bring a crazy pass rush. That can exploit that Bengals O-line. They don't have an elite defense in terms of coverage. Joe Burrow can run around too. Not nearly to the extent as Josh Allen. He's not nearly as big, and he's just not Josh Allen in that respect. But he can still run around and hurt you with his feet. And I would argue that the Bengals probably have a stronger running game than the Bills, although the Bills definitely produced on the ground much better as the season went along.
Well, we talked about in the video that we did making our predictions for the divisional round. We talked about that Bengal receiving core, and they are kind of underrated.
Yeah, no, and you know what else is underrated? The Bengals defense. No one ever talks about how good that defense is. This Bengals team is good. I'm not saying they're going to win. It seems like playoff Mahomes is different, but let me just tell you, too, when you're coming off, and I know I made jokes about it not being a great game, but that was a game where you just emptied the tank. You had to put everything you had in it. That was pretty much like a Super Bowl right there. And you're telling me that after that game that was pretty much the Super Bowl, you're telling me that the Bengals don't have a shot to, kind of sneak a little Mike Tyson knockout in there?
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Little Mike Tyson knockout in there and pull the season sweep. Oh, my God, no one has beaten Mahomes twice in a season. Well, I think it's setting up for that, because that was an insane game, and I don't give a shit. I'm picking the Bengals to win. And,
hey, don't get me wrong. I want to see
I think the Bengals are going to win, and then I think they're going to probably lose. I think they would lose to either the 49ers or the Rams, personally, just because I feel the 49ers and the Rams both have a pass rush that would be too much. If you can bring the heat on the Bengals, it's not going to be good for them because unfortunately they're still a few moves away on the offensive line in the offseason from really being able to take it to the next level. But I absolutely think they match up well in this game, especially if the Honey Badger is not playing. Joe Burrow that guy is a culture changer. He comes in and he immediately infused confidence in a franchise that hadn't won a playoff game in 31 years, that has been notoriously frugal in free agency, that has been notoriously losing. They're kind of like the better version of the Bills throughout the 2000s, pretty much. Where they actually made a couple of playoffs. Well, they didn't win anything, and they were just pretty much kind of a laughing stock. Joe Burrow has absolutely changed everything.
He is the modern day version of Boomer Esiason.
Yeah, the guy.
Yeah, you remember? Oh, I know he was before your time, but I'm sure you've seen highlights of Boomer Esiason because he was the quarterback back in the day for the Bengals that was winning in the playoffs for them, that was taking them to Super Bowls. Norman Boomer Esiason.
There is something about Joe Burrow that when I listen to this man speak, I almost want to go out there and hit somebody. Like, this guy just has this confidence about him. I still remember when he got done throwing for 525 yards on the Ravens defense, and he was asked if the Wink Martindale comments where they were like, let's not fit him with a gold jacket yet. They asked him what he thought, and he says, they asked him if he was thinking about it when he was throwing for yards, and he was like, maybe. And I'm just like, this fucking guy, like he's like every bully in every every one of those movies growing up where the freaking football player goes and shoves kids' faces in the toilets, gives them swirlies, and then just goes out and throws for 6 touchdowns and wins the championship. And he's like, what? That's Joe Burrow, 100%. Like, the guy can't say enough about him.
Well, like Cowboys Longhorn says, Joe Burrow going to have Cincinnati making noise for a while. Couldn't agree more. And you might think that I'm crazy for this, Eric, but in our fantasy league, I actually passed on Joe Burrow for Justin Herbert.
I don't think that was a bad play. I don't think anybody knew that they were going to be what they were. They were expected to win 4 or 5 games. So I don't really think I think that's what a lot of people did, but I don't think they're going to be doing it this time around.
Well, so far as fantasy league points go, Herbert and Burrow have pretty much been a wash because they've been kind of both they've been producing pretty much the same. And besides, I just won my fantasy league championship this year. Hell yeah.
With 3 Buffalo Bills in the lineup.
Yeah. 3 Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and Dawson Knox, who in our league, he was just sitting there. And I took a chance on him because at one point he hadn't really been doing much. But I'm like, you know what? I'm in tight end trouble. I do have Cole Kmet on my bench because we do a dynasty version, and I had Cole Kmet on my bench, but that Bears offense, you saw a little bit of them. They were struggling like shit this year. And
I wouldn't have taken it. I wouldn't have put any Chicago Bears on my team this year. Let me tell you, for the longest time, as much as I love my Buffalo Bills, how many Buffalo Bills do you think I had on my fantasy team?
2
before Josh Allen.
Before Josh Allen, okay.
LaShawn McCoy was the only Buffalo Bill that I would put on my fantasy team. That was it, and maybe the Jackson or Spiller, running back. There was really nobody else that was worth putting in there. No quarterbacks, no wide receivers.
Yeah. Well, and also real quick before we go any further, it says only 2 people are watching. There could be a few more, who knows? But just to let everybody know, if any of you guys want to come in here and have a quick discussion with us and give us your thoughts, we're we're more than open to doing that. So if you want to, just let us know in the comment section, and I'll post a link for you guys. But yeah, so going into some of the other games, we got to talk a little bit about that Rams and Bucks game. And I'm telling you right now, when Tampa Bay was down by as much as they were, and I'm not just saying this because of the Super Bowl against Atlanta, but I'm like, no, let's not write off the Bucks just yet. This is Tom Brady. He has a history of making some magic here. This game ain't over yet. So what were your thoughts when the Bucks were down 20-3, or even 27-3 at one point to start?
My thoughts were, if they were up by one more point, they would have been in trouble.
Yeah, by another possession. Yeah, at least.
No. Like, if they were up by one more point,
one more point. Okay.
If they were up 28-3, I think they would have been in some serious trouble, because we all know Tom Brady likes to come back from 28-3 deficits. It was 27-3, so unfortunately it fell just short. Even though it really wasn't Tom Brady who let his team down, it was his defense. Because, like I said, Leslie Frazier and Todd Bowles each came together and made a pact that they were going to play the shittiest defenses they possibly could at the end of the game to give the game up to the opponent for whatever reason. Maybe they were paid off. Maybe they just like had a beer together and they're like, this is going to be the funniest thing I ever watched this. We're going to play the shittiest fucking defenses. People are going to be so mad. It's going to be hilarious.
I will say this, though, about the ending of the Rams and Bucks. 42 seconds isn't as humiliating as 13 seconds.
Oh, fuck off. My God.
I don't say that. I don't say that towards the Bills or to insult.
Yes,
you.
That is towards the Bills.
I'm talking more about Leslie Frazier, not the Bills.
I know. I was only giving you a hard time.
Hey, Dwayne. Thank you so much for dropping in. I hope you like the conversation and the content. It's always great to see you, bud. But no. But it's just. I mean, really, when you look at those two scenarios, which teams be damned. I mean, what do you think is more heartbreaking? Letting it get out, losing the lead with 13
I think they
seconds?
were just based on the defenses they were both putting out there. I think they were equally embarrassing. Just the fact that you do an all-out blitz or whatever it was they did something like that, and they let Cooper Kupp get behind them.
Big mistake with him.
That was utterly embarrassing. To Todd Bowles, if he was going to be getting a head coaching job, he absolutely is not anymore. There's no way you look at that. And literally, two coaches completely coached themselves out of head coaching jobs in one day. It was incredible. And then Leslie Frazier, if you look at the way that they were lined up in prevent defense, and Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, just about every Kansas City receiver was lined up uncovered. So here you are. You only need 13 seconds, right? And you've got a guy lined up. And I know we were trying to talk about the Rams game, but I just have to say this.
Sure.
People want to talk, like, you say, oh, Squid, kick at this, whatever that. No. You know what you need to do? You need to just play your normal defense, because you have got two guys here, Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, play the cover two shell you've been playing, where you have to make Mahomes take the shot, take the little stuff. That's what you need to do. If you're just going to let freaking Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce line up uncovered at the line, they're absolutely going to burn you. And it wasn't even like the prevent defense prevented anything. The only thing it prevented was the Bills from winning the game. That's literally the only thing the prevent defense prevented, was Buffalo from winning the game. That was it. If they'd have played their normal defense, they probably would have won the game. If they'd have just gone out there and played a cover two shell, nothing over the top, make them throw underneath, Buffalo would have won the game easily.
But instead,
all you have to do is stop them for 13 fucking seconds, and you can't even fucking do that. What an embarrassment. What an embarrassment.
But instead they rush 4, and I'm like, I'm sorry, you got to have 8 back for that. Just rush 3.
There's no need to rush Mahomes on that play at all.
Yeah, just rush,
just nothing over the top.
Just rush 3, and you're good.
Fucking rush nobody. Send them all back. No one gets anything. Let Mahomes just stand. Just let Mahomes just stand. Dare him to run up in there, and then we'll have someone just clean his freaking clock. And then that'll be the end of the game. Make Mahomes run the ball. Just have have one guy on the line of scrimmage. Is that legal?
I don't think so.
Be like, here, we'll just give Mahomes, we'll cover everyone and tell Mahomes he has to run it. And then all you have to do is tackle him. And then the game's over.
I mean, I think I'm not sure of the rules on that, but I think you do have to have at least 3 guys on the line. But I guess I don't know the rules on this part.
2-man rush. I think you can have a 2-man rush, actually.
Okay. Well, now this part I'm not sure of, but if you wanted to drop all those defensive linemen back, I guess you could, unless that's illegal too. But
just drop 11 into coverage.
Yeah, or go and try to put all 11 defenders on the goal line, even though they're like 75 yards out.
What? Well, no. If you put them all on the goal line, they just needed a field goal.
Well, no, I'm just saying you'd run off like a lot of time. I don't know. I'm just trying to.
Then they would just like give themselves up like inside the 20, and then it would be like an easy field goal.
I'm just trying to think of ideas here.
You know what they could have done? Anything other than what they did.
Yeah. That's good enough right there.
Anything other than what they did. It was utterly embarrassing. That's the most embarrassing defense I've ever seen out of Buffalo. And Trey White or no Trey White, 13 seconds, you should absolutely be able to stop him. And if you just played a normal cover 2 shell like you've been playing the entire game, I 100% think you win the game, because it's not – tell me how many deep throws, other than on the last possession there, how many deep throws they were getting on the Bills. The whole game. The whole game, it was freaking little bing here, bing, bing, bing.
Nickel and diamond.
Yeah, just nickel and diming us because, we were making them be patient and take that stuff. 13 seconds, if you'd have just played your normal defense, I 100% think you win the game. 100%. Because I don't think anyone gets by. I don't think anyone gets deep.
And dude, I was so hurt for you last night, because I remember when Allen and Davis hooked up for that four touchdowns for Gabriel Davis. That's insane. But when they hooked up for the 4th time to take the lead with 13 seconds, I remember, I called you. We were both going ape shit. And this is coming from a Bears fan. But that's how happy I was.
I had a whole watch party there. We were all, oh my God, we were all up in arms. And
I couldn't imagine what it was like being there when that bullshit unfolded.
Well, I mean, if you'd like to see a result of that.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Well, you know what? It's funny. I actually can relate to that. I've never done that myself, but
I did. I was fucking livid. Oh my God.
2005 for Notre Dame USC, the Bush Push game. My brother, he was at that time, he was sharing an apartment with 2 of his buddies. And when that happened, when the Bush Push happened, he punched a hole through his freaking door. And that's not the funny part. The funny part is they didn't patch it up. They didn't fix it. Their landlord, when they moved out, their landlord gave them back their lease and everything. That's the funny part of it.
See, I live in an apartment myself, but I could probably find a door right over at Lowe's and just put it on myself. See, here's where I was calculated with my anger. I wasn't angry enough to not know that if I punched a wall, that'd be a lot harder to fix than a door.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
well, I don't know about that. I mean, just depending on what color your wall. Well, yeah, yours is kind of has like a yellow tint to it or whatever.
Yeah.
Or is it all white?
It's kind of got a yellow
Okay, so you
Oh,
couldn't.
white. I mean, I think the light's making it kind of yellowish, but
But you couldn't just plaster it over.
no.
Okay.
So the door though, I can just freaking find one at Lowe's and replace that. That'd be pretty easy.
Yeah, I just but going back to what we were saying, I felt so bad for you because, like I said, even though I'm a Bears fan, I wanted to, since they're not in the playoffs, the Bills are the team that I wanted to see win it. I wanted to see two things happen: the Packers get knocked out by somebody, which that happened too, and I wanted to see the Bills go all the way. Because if there's anybody that deserves one, it's the Bills and their fans. And I mean, of course, there's people are still making jokes about what happened in the early '90s. Losing 4 straight.
Yeah, those jokes are absolutely tired. Like, if you still make one, if you still like, if and I hope I offend somebody here. If you are out there, if you still make those jokes today, go fuck yourself. No one wants to hear it. It's absolutely tired. I'm so tired of those jokes. It's ridiculous. Come up with something new, like 13 seconds or something. Like.
Yeah. And also, here's another thing too. I know, obviously I get it. When you make the Super Bowl, the idea is to win it. Of course, I get that. But really, how many people can say that they've actually made it 4 times? I mean, I think that's pretty impressive to do that, to at least make it four times.
If only they didn't pull off something equally as impressive. It just gets overshadowed, especially when they lost 3 out of 4 of them by blowout scores. They only lost one of them that was competitive.
Well, listen, you got
one of the Giants. The first
those last 2 against the Cowboys. I mean, look.
Yeah.
Let me just say something about that. Those Cowboys teams of the '90s, a lot of people were having problems with them.
The NFC East was dominant back then. It was the opposite of what it is now, because you look at who the Bills played in the Super Bowls: the Cowboys twice, the Redskins, and the Giants. What does that tell you about that freaking division? Like back then, like it's the opposite of what it is now.
Well, and also, not just the dominant division, but in particular with the Cowboys. Look at that offensive line they had. I guarantee you, an 80-year-old woman with arthritis and walking on a cane could have made it through that line.
Yep.
So that Buffalo, that defensive line of Buffalo, they were going to have problems. So you can't just blame it.
It was a very difficult matchup for matchups for sure. The best matchup they had was against the Giants, and they had their chances in that one.
And Norwood just missed at the wrong time.
There are times where I'm starting to wonder if the Bills franchise is cursed. Like when I see things like when you look at things like what happened in the '90s, and the what was it, the Music City Miracle and the 13 seconds, and what happened against. I mean, even when you look at what happened against Houston. The 17-year playoff drought, like it's just like, what the fuck? Like the only team that I can think of in the last few years that's been fucked over worse than the Bills in the playoffs, it's been the New Orleans Saints, probably.
Well, if you want to talk about curses, look at both the teams I cheer for. Obviously the Bears, and behind me for the college ranks, Notre Dame. I mean, I've gone off on the Irish about that shit numerous times over the years, and I still even do it on the Two Irish Brothers show with my buddy Ben. I mean, every chance that we get, it just seems to somehow slip away from us. I mean, the Fiesta Bowl this year is the most recent example. And then the Bears, my God. It's like ever since the 85-86 team, the back in the day, the Super Bowl shuffle, Refrigerator Perry, all that, ever since then, it's just been gradually going downhill, and now it seems like it's at an all-time worst. Okay, yeah, we've made some playoff appearances. We've gotten to the Super Bowl once, but look at what happens when we get there. And then not to mention all the front office decisions, the bad drafts, the trading 3 valuable picks to draft a Mitch Trubisky when you still had at that time both Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson there, that you could have at least gotten one of them. So you want to talk about curse? There you go. And I could go on and on and on.
That's
But we're not
them
talking
cursing themselves, though. Those are examples of them like cursing themselves. I feel like, those are self-inflicted curses. Yeah, that's lost.
I don't know
out there, but I had some. Do you know what I was going to say about the Bears was that I feel like they've never really moved past I feel like they've spent every year since 1985 almost trying to recreate the 1985 Bears instead of getting with the times. Like, you just watch the Bears. Every time I watch the Bears offense, I feel like they are just well behind the times.
Well, they're not behind the times on defense. They've had a lot of
the defense is great.
Teams. It's offense.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Offensively, they seem. I think they're behind the times. I think they need to get with the new age here, which I think they're taking steps toward that. Drafting a guy like Justin Fields, get the guy a little protection and some weapons to throw to. I think that could be a really good situation.
Well, I mean, they definitely have a good one in Darnell Mooney, who could really be something. I have a good feeling Allen Robinson is probably gone. He's probably sick of the crap with the front office. But all I know is before I even talk about free agency or the draft with them, they've got to get it right this time. They've got to get the right GM. They've got to get the right head coach, and it's got to be a coach who can work with a quarterback like Justin Fields, because watching his rookie season this past year, it's been a nightmare. And it just scares me. Like, if they decided to keep Matt Nagy, my God, they're going to ruin that kid. You have got to get a coach in here that knows how to work with him, that can build him up. And, I don't know who it's going to be. I don't know who the GM is going to be. I don't know who the new head coach is going to be, but they've got to get it right. That's all I can say. And if they can't get it right, then my God, McCaskies, sell the goddamn team.
You know who I want in Buffalo when Brian Daboll takes a head coaching job inevitably?
Who's that?
Joe Brady.
I don't know too much about him.
Joe Brady he was fired from Carolina, which utterly ridiculous. But for one, Joe Brady was the one who coached Joe Burrow. He was the passing game coordinator for LSU during that national championship season. And you know what he had there? He had a quarterback and some weapons and stuff to work with. And then you go look at Carolina. They have they have a piece or two. They had DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson, but they had the worst line in football. That was injured like crazy. When they actually didn't have injuries, the first 3 games, I thought they looked pretty good. Darnold was looking pretty good, but then his offensive line folded, and that was the end of that. So you give the guy no offensive line, no quarterback. So Darnold gets hurt, and then he starts sucking, and then you have to play Cam Newton and P.J. Walker. So you expect this guy to recreate the 2019 LSU Tigers with that shit? You're just giving the guy. You're not even giving the guy a slingshot and a rock. You're giving him a Nerf gun.
Yeah, you're not gonna have much success with that crap. But hey, real quick,
he's got a fucking Nerf gun. And then and then here's the way I see it, because the guy can call plays, and what does Buffalo do predominantly? They're a passing football team. Well, what did Joe Brady have when he was at LSU? Oh, he had guys like Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He had all sorts of offensive weapons. I wonder what the Bills have. Oh, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, Emmanuel Sanders, Gabriel Davis, Isaiah McKenzie.
You got a whole arsenal of weapons. It's like, I think what you just described is like when I watched Terminator 2 Judgment Day, and the part when they meet up with Sarah Connor's friend from down in Mexico, and they pull open the bottom, or the bottom that leads down to that underground weapons where they had all the weapons stored. That's like the Buffalo Bills right there. It's like, take your pick of what you want.
Do you know how many yards Stephon Diggs had against the Chiefs?
Diggs, I think he had what, like 30, if that?
7.
Wow.
7 yards.
I will say this though. He did
because you had Gabriel Davis with the game for the ages, 8 receptions, 200 yards. So you've got weapons there in Buffalo. I absolutely think Joe Brady would be an outstanding fit in Buffalo. He was a scapegoat firing in Carolina. They gave him a Nerf gun to work with and told him that he better make this Nerf gun work or you're fired. And then they fired him. Stupid, absolutely stupid. So I love it, and I don't believe he's been grabbed up by anybody yet. He would be an outstanding fit in Buffalo for what we do with a guy like Josh Allen. That guy can call plays. Joe Brady, He did a great job when he had. Because the year before that, he was the coordinator, he had Bridgewater. And he actually had Bridgewater looking kind of okay. Like, because I had him on my fantasy team, and he wasn't too bad. He was, and he's like a little stopgap, bridge quarterback. I thought he put up some pretty nice stats in 2020. And, I thought that was in large part due to the play calling. I thought he finally had a guy in there call plays.
Well, we got a comment here from this guy, Chiefs versus Rams in Super Bowl 56. The odds are definitely in that favor for sure. But also, another thing too, we talked about this in the video as well, but you mentioned Cole Beasley. He was definitely a key part of that receiving core too last night.
Cole Beasley is your safety blanket.
Yeah, he set them up. He set that offense up for a lot of success, which they did find it. But one thing I will say about Stephon Diggs, even though he didn't have the sexiest nights ever, he did catch the key 2-point conversion.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
At that point in the game, I mean, I know it didn't work out, but still,
Cody McCracken, who is your favorite team? Are you a Chiefs fan or a Rams fan? I can see it being Chiefs Rams. That'd be an entertaining Super Bowl, I think.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing it, and it's looking very likely. But I gotta be honest, I would like to see Bengals 49ers because it brings back some nostalgia
in that Chiefs game. They have a chance. I think they match up okay, But obviously, it's the playoff version of the Chiefs, so But I give the Bengals a good shot in that game. I really do. I give them a good shot. I'm not saying. Well, I pretty much said earlier that I think they. In fact, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna say I think they will win. I think the Bengals will win. And I think it would be. I think it's going to be Bengals Rams personally, because I think that game is going to have taken a lot out of the Chiefs. We don't know what's happening with Honey Badger. I think there's a lot of uncertainties, and
oh, yeah.
If you think the Bills receiving core is good, the Bengals is better.
Well, real quick, not to stray away from that, but I gotta share this. So my girlfriend just sent me this message, and good for her on this. She says she told me to have a good live stream. Go Chiefs! I guess her folks are Chiefs fans, and she says, "Did I tell you about my DraftKings bet?" And I'm like, "No, you didn't." She says, "I put $5 that Mahomes would run in a touchdown and Kelsey would get a touchdown, and she won $50." That's awesome, babe.
I won $75 betting on the Chiefs because I bet on the Chiefs just in case the Bills lost, and maybe then I wouldn't want to hang myself as much. but it failed because they lost the game in the most gut-wrenching fashion possible. So thankfully I didn't have any nooses nearby because I probably would have used it.
Well, and for the record, just to let everyone know, that's as far as I'm going to go with my personal life on here. with other drama that I've been watching around YouTube lately with some good friends of mine. I am not bringing anybody from my personal life on YouTube. I'll tell you that much.
Fair enough.
But she actually is a Bears fan. But like I said, I think either her mom or her dad or both root for the Chiefs. But anyway, going back to what we were talking about before, no, that would be a great matchup, the Rams and the Chiefs. But I just you Eric, you know me. I love nostalgia, and the Bengals against the 49ers, that would just be
the ultimate underdog.
Nostalgia.
It's the underdog bowl. That's the underdog bowl right there.
Yeah.
I really just don't think the Rams are going to get by, or the 49ers are going to get by the Rams. I just don't think it's going to happen for a third time. It could. And I think no matter who the Bengals play in the Super Bowl, they would lose because of their offensive line. Because you've got wicked pass rushes with guys like, the 49ers. They probably even have a better pass rush than the Rams. I think that's where they can really hurt the Rams, is with the pass rush and getting Stafford to make mistakes. And if they can run the ball, if they can run the ball like how they did against Dallas and like how they were, in the latter parts of the game against the Packers. I think that's what can get them the victory. That's the keys. The Niners can get to the Super Bowl. It is 100% possible.
And just wanted to give a special shout out to okay, that is from shit. Okay, somebody fucking with me here. I don't know. Whatever. People know that people know they know. So what? I don't care. What are they going to do? But I was responding to my buddy Ben from the Two Irish Brothers show. He chimed in and said, "Nice hat, Sean." I'm like, "Hey, thanks, Ben. What's up, buddy? Hope you're having a good time at work tonight."
And now is your name in the YouTube comments now?
Yeah, but fuck it. What are people going to do?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Haven't we kind of seen the extent of what people will do before?
Yeah.
I don't know. As long as the Michigan State message boards aren't tuning in, I think everything should be okay.
Yeah. Well, we only have officially one person watching anyway, but there could be some others. But I don't know.
I think we'll just give our official picks on here, and then we'll call that quits. For me, it's going to be the Ram. I'm going to go. I'm going to go Rams over the 49ers, and I'm going to go Bengals over the Chiefs.
Now, are we picking what we want to have happen, or what we think?
No, that's what I think is going to happen. That's what I think is going to happen.
All right. What I think is going to happen is I think the Rams will beat the 49ers. So the Rams for sure. And I'm really trying to think about this. Do I want to take a shot here? Do I want to put it all on the line?
Do it. Go big or go home.
You're right. I'm gonna say the Bengals beat the Chiefs in another upset.
It's a good matchup. It's a good matchup, man. They don't bring a ferocious pass rush. They've got one dominant pass rusher in Chris Jones. That's really it. Melvin Ingram's all right, but he played in the last game they played against the Bengals. And I don't think they really put too much pressure on Joe Burrow, considering how much he torched him. So, yeah, give me the Bengals, especially if there's no Tyrann Mathieu. There's no Honey Badger. That's an even worse matchup. And you're coming off of a game where that took a lot out of the Chiefs. I'm telling you, that took a lot out of the Chiefs there. And they've been to, 4 straight AFC championship games. That's very impressive. They've won 2 out of 3 of them. I think it's going to be 2 out of 4. Give me the Bengals. Give me the Bengals. And I hope I'm wrong about the Rams, so that way it can be the underdog bowl in the Super Bowl. I would love it. I'd actually watch the Super Bowl.
I so want to see an underdog get in there and win it. I really do. I hope the Bengals can be that team.
I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl no matter who they play, who they go up against, because both of the teams they would play could exploit their weaknesses on the offensive line.
Well, all I know is that it's definitely going to be an exciting AFC and NFC championship, and I think it's going to be a fun Super Bowl too. But of course, we'll cover that more as we go along. But no, dude, we can keep going for as long as you want to go. I just, I'm
probably going to be logging off here soon.
Okay, well, I'm just saying there's people who know me already. It's not a big deal. It's I have nothing that people want, so it's okay.
But no, I wasn't talking about that. It's I'm tired. I haven't slept yet.
Oh yeah, that's right. In your video,
I worked from 4:30. I worked from 4:30 to 2:30 earlier, so that was a 10-hour day.
Oh geez, man. See, I guess this is where I well, when when you've just had surgery on your shoulder and you still got, I want to say I'm still like probably close to a month out from being able to return to work. So I mean, it's easier for me when I got all the time in the world.
But always nice streaming with you, Sean, and I hope everyone has a great night and enjoy the football. I'm not going to be watching. I think I've had about enough football this year, unless we get the Underdog Bowl. I'll watch that.
Yeah, that would definitely be a lot of fun, and I hope it happens because, like I said, the Bengals and 49ers. That's nostalgia right there. Those are the days of Joe Montana against Boomer Esiason, and I would love to see that again. Only this time it's Joe Burrow and Jimmy Garoppolo. But I was going to talk to you about the USFL coming back, but you know what? We'll save that for the next stream.
I mean, I don't know much about the USFL, to be honest with you.
Well, I tell you what, we'll save all that conversation for next time. But until then. When you get free time, and I encourage everyone out there who's watching to do this, go watch the ESPN 30 for 30 called From Elway to Marino. It's all about the 1983 NFL draft because so much stuff happened in that, and they even talk about the USFL because the USFL, which stands for United States Football League, that originally started back in 1983. And if you've seen the commercials during the games, that's coming back in April. But yeah, I'll just leave it there. Eric, you go check out that documentary, that 30 for 30 if you're able to. And yeah, that'll give you a little bit of history on it.
All righty. Sounds good. Well, you have a great night, Sean, and hope everyone else has a great night too.
Yep. And you go get some sleep, man.
Yeah.
So on that note, for Eric, aka Syracuse and Buffalo Sports, I'm ND Sean 45. Thank you everyone for watching. And on that note, God bless and have a great night.